Welcome to your custom deep dive. You gave us a really fascinating piece of ancient literature to unpack today. So think about when you watch a modern disaster movie.
Like those heavy CGI ones.
Yeah, exactly, like an ancient Roland Emmerich film. There's this, visceral panic, mountains crumbling, giant waves wiping out cities, pure apocalyptic chaos.
Right, totally overwhelming.
And imagine trying to process that exact level of catastrophic collapse, but you're an ancient writer. So today we are looking at how Psalm 46 from the English Standard Version of the Bible constructs this narrative of absolute stability in a collapsing world.
And since its preamble notes it was written according to Alamoth, which is like a musical term, we are actually dissecting an ancient song meant to be experienced collectively.
Definitely.
Though just to be clear right up front, we are exploring this text purely to understand its literary structure and, the psychological themes. We're not here to endorse any specific religious viewpoints.
Right, no endorsements here.
Yeah, we just want to see how ancient minds use poetry to cope with disaster.
And, the author really doesn't hold back. The text opens by attacking our most primal fear, like the ground beneath us literally giving way.
It's terrifying.
Right. Mountains moving into the heart of the sea, waters roaring and foaming. Yet right before this terrifying imagery, they make this incredibly defiant claim, therefore we will not fear.
Which is wild.
It is. How do you justify that level of confidence while the world is ending?
Well, they do it by establishing an anchor before the storm even hits. So the
Okay.
very first sentence sets up a fortress. It says, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble.
Oh, and there's a really fascinating footnote there, Rick.
Yeah, exactly. The footnote reveals that very present can also translate to well-proved,
Well proved. So, it's less of an abstract comfort and more like
like a reinforced bunker.
yes, a bunker that has already survived a previous earthquake.
That is a great way to put it. The text grounds the audience in proven safety first. It turns the natural disaster imagery that comes later into a test of that established anchor.
Instead of just, a trigger for blind panic.
Exactly. It functions almost like a modern cognitive behavioral therapy technique. You use a grounding thought to prevent a spiral into anxiety.
Okay, so we survive the tectonic shift, but then the narrative pivots really sharply. We go from the roaring, foaming oceans to a peaceful river whose streams bring joy to a city.
It's a huge contrast.
It really is.
Right.
Why shift from an ocean to a river?
Well, ancient cities relied on massive, impenetrable walls for safety. So by contrasting a crumbling mountain, which is nature's ultimate wall, with a calm, steady river flowing inside the city, the author is showing that true security isn't geographic.
Ah, so it's psychological.
Right. And then the threat shifts from natural turmoil to human geopolitical chaos. The text describes nations raging and kingdoms tottering.
Wait, but right after that it says, he utters his voice, the earth melts.
Yeah.
That sounds like we are right back to the natural disasters from the intro. Are we sure this isn't just, an apocalyptic volcano reference?
It sounds like it, but in the broader context of ancient Near Eastern poetry, melting is actually a really powerful metaphor for the dissolution of human power structures.
Oh, wow. So the earth melting isn't magma.
No, it's the sudden, complete collapse of political authority in the face of a higher divine power. Like if you were listening to this today, you might equate these tottering kingdoms to a wildly fluctuating stock market.
Or like a chaotic election cycle.
Exactly. The text is saying, human systems are just as fragile as those crumbling mountains.
Wow. And to counter that fragility, the song introduces this stabilizing refrain. It says, the Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress.
And that refrain is basically the steady heartbeat of the whole text.
Right.
It promises help when morning dawns, which
Mhm.
highlights this enduring presence right in the middle of human conflict. And then the political chaos resolves, but it is a forced, dramatic piece.
Right. The text actually commands the reader to behold how these wars cease, like by breaking bows, shattering spears, and burning chariots with fire.
The juxtaposition there is totally jarring.
It really is. You have burning chariots and shattered weapons, and then instantly, this really famous command, be still and know that I am God.
Which is such a massive shift.
Yeah, it feels exactly like that ringing, absolute silence you see in movies right after a massive battlefield explosion. The dust is still settling, but the fighting is just forced to stop.
That's spot on. The author takes us from natural earthquakes to political collapse
Yeah.
and ends with a definitive intervention that violently disarms the world to enforce peace.
And then we get that steady grounding refrain one more time just to stabilize the listener.
Right. And throughout all of these intense contrasts of chaos and safety, the text repeatedly uses a very specific word, Selah.
Which is generally understood as a musical pause, right?
Yeah. It forces the singer, and really you, the reader, to literally stop talking and absorb the weight of the chaos that was just resolved.
I love that. We obviously don't live in ancient times, but, the feeling of the earth giving way or nations raging probably feels pretty familiar when you scroll through your daily newsfeed.
Oh, definitely.
So, here's a thought to leave you with. As you navigate your own chaotic week, what is your modern equivalent of a Selah?
It's a question.
How do you hit pause to find stillness when you feel totally overwhelmed by the roaring waters of your own life?